Well, back for some more nuclear revenge. I don't know, man. This shit is intense. The last two stories had an insane ending with a guy's football career being ended where he had a scholarship, and the other kid getting somebody arrested and a restraining order filed. And we're just going to keep it pushing. I wanted my father to understand I wasn't coming, and I mean that in the purest, most religious way possible. Play.
My parents divorced when I was in first grade. Not only did my dad disappear like Houdini, he stole my mother's ATM card to her personal account and drained her dry. My mother, being the saint she is, didn't even bat an eye. She still was cordial to him and never said a negative word about him. To me, my dad, albeit abandoning us, was still my hero.
That sucks.
From 1st through 5th grade, I had the usual abandoned by dad stories. Maybe 1 or 2 visits in a year and 50 times of me waiting by the front window with my suitcase packed to go to his house and him never showing up. My mom, through all of this, was supportive and never said an ill word about him. So he still stayed my hero.
That is pretty good on the mom's part. I think as a mother you should be a little bit more realistic with your kids. But that doesn't mean you have to trash talk them. But it seems like parents are like either one or the other. Either they won't say anything bad about them, or they just fucking trash talk them to death. And both of them achieve the same goal, right? Making the other person seem completely fine because, you know, they just talk so much shit it just seems bitter.
When I was in 6th grade, my mother finally remarried, and my father, who only had a picture of me at 8 months old in his wallet, went ballistic. Did I mention he never paid child support?
No.
He would use his father's social, they had the same name, to get away with it. After my mom remarried, he let it be known that I was now my stepdad's responsibility. He cut off communication with me until I graduated high school. He didn't attend my graduation or send a card. What he did do was write me an email thanking God he no longer had to pay child support.
Oh my God.
He didn't anyway. What really broke me was his ruthless and brutal attack on my mother, attacking her weight, looks, teeth, and blaming any perceived negative traits that I had on her. For the first time, I realized what a cowardly piece of trash he was.
That's so sad.
I responded in kind. He told me I was no child of his and that I was a waste. After that, I vowed that I would hurt him.
Well, that turned not in his favor, did it not?
10 years later, my father, not interested in my wedding or my son, reached out to me. You see, he's a diabetic, and one of his organs was failing, and he didn't have long. He's too far down on the wait list, and he needed someone in our family to donate. Nuclear Revenge activated. I answered his email. I met up with him and pretended that I didn't hate his guts. I went and got tested to see if I was a match. I was. Did the therapy and met with doctors and his therapist. We scheduled the surgery. The day of the surgery, we met at the hospital. I smiled in his face and let him know that I wouldn't be going through with the surgery.
Oh my God!
I watched the confusion line his face. I just wanted you to know that you're no father to me, and you're a waste. I left the hospital and drove home. My mom was pretty annoyed with me that I took it that far. My father is dying, and I will be attending the funeral out of spite. And I will let everyone know what a piece of trash he was.
Oh my God!
TLDR, father abandoned me and called me a waste. Later in life, he needs an organ. I agree and match with him and abandon him at the hospital the day of the surgery after calling him a waste. He will die and I will ruin his funeral.
Wow.
Absolutely hate to see such a kind woman be taken advantage of like this, and I can see why OP snapped when his father so blatantly failed to return the honestly undeserved kindness, respect, and restraint that his mother had shown. Was it going too far to fake him into thinking his life would be saved with a donor organ? I'll leave that up for you guys to decide.
Wow, man. That's intense, man. That is a lot. You know, there's a big turning point in my life where I realized that I was capable of doing things like that to people. I feel like instead of purposely ruining people's moments, I need to make them better, you know? And whenever I get hurt by people who are intentionally doing mean things to me, instead of focusing any energy on that person that are doing mean things to me. I focus on my family, and I'm nicer to those around me and improving the lives of myself and my friends and my community now on YouTube. I just feel like your energy could be spent building positive relationships. It could be spent improving yourself. You know, there's always a better thing you could be doing instead of, you know, brooding. I think you need to give every moment its time. But I've had moments now, my most recent moment you guys know about, of somebody really doing me wrong. People don't think it's as bad as it is because I don't spend any time on it, you know, and so I tried to give it appropriate time for the community and stuff for you guys to understand. But somebody went so far out of their way to hurt me because they were hurt. And instead of me being like, well, I'm going to return the favor to them and getting in like a big battle, I'm just like, I need to improve my own life and I need to be stable in my own life, because anybody that's willing to hurt me has no place in it and they're dead to me. I mean, it's that simple. Like, you're going to spend that much time hating me and trying to ruin my things. You're going to hate me even more once you realize how happy I am without you. You know, like that's what I feel like is the best type of revenge. Live your life in happiness, live your life in joy. And understand that that bitterness and that darkness is not something that needs to be a part of you. And you can choose to do that through your own efforts. You can succeed, you know. I tell everybody, you know, how much money would you want to make to be sad every day? You know, you can be happy right where you are. Anywho's, and that's just really close to me. I just feel so sad that that family got broken apart. And I feel sad that his mother had to relive their relationship through that, because if you really wanted to make your mother feel happy, you can do so many other things. So, I mean, I've been hurt like everybody else has been hurt. All right, we're back. Dude, these things are just so savage. I can't wrap my mind around it, dude. But let's continue, because the fucking sick part about it, it's just so sick. Because, like, I read the title, Parking our Disabled Spot, enjoy selling your home. I have to see what happens now. Holy
Enjoy
shit.
selling your home.
I gotta see what happens now.
So my little sister, who is the sweetest girl in the world, is 12 years old, but can't walk or communicate.
Oh.
Her mental age is around 6 months.
Yeah.
She obviously cannot attend a regular school, but since we live in a big city, there is a wonderful school for kids like her. Even though we don't own a car, since we don't need one, we got the city to put up signs in front of our house designating a 4-meter spot for wheelchair pickup and drop off for her school bus every morning and afternoon.
Man, I'm gonna let Skitten watch this, and I know she will support the fuck out of this. I can already tell. God, that's why, you know what it is, dude? Find yourself a woman, man, who can balance you out. I'm gonna come with all the touchy-feely, let's support each other and build a positive relationship shit, and Skitten's the one that's just 100% savage, bro. She's ruthless, man, and I fucking love her. She'll protect her family through hell and back.
The signs went up perhaps 2 years ago, and after the first week, we never really had any issues, since most of our neighbors are wonderful and totally understanding of our designated spot. For some context, we live in perhaps a poorer community, though we're well off, but in our 9 years here, we've had nothing but great interactions with everyone. Sadly, the neighborhood is gentrifying, and we're getting more self-centered people with their Mercedes-Benz or Audis honking while my sister gets loaded onto her school bus, which takes around 4 minutes, but does block our little street.
Fam, bro, never mind. Let me hear the savagery if you honk at me while I'm helping like Skitten's brother get up out of a car, fam. That ain't about to happen. Oh, hell no.
This really pisses us off, as well as the other sane people that witness
That's what I'm saying.
Naively, we thought this would be the extent of our unpleasant interactions. In September, we woke up like on any other Monday morning to find a shiny BMW parked in our disabled spot. It wasn't just partially in it, it was positioned perfectly to take up the entire spot. To make things worse, there were about a dozen open spots on the block, and it's not like they were all vacated that morning since we woke up at 6 a.m. We were baffled. I'd seen this car many times since last July, and it was definitely the same car, since there aren't many burgundy sports cars in our neighborhood. It was usually parked about 20 meters south on our street, so we knew it belonged to a neighbor a few doors down.
Yo, that's fucked up.
We did all the basics in this type of situation. We took a picture, took down the license plate, and called the police to report it. The cops came by within the hour and wrote a big fat ticket. I believe it was for $700.
It's like 500 plus taxes in Vegas. So, yeah.
But don't quote me on it. Anyways,
they'll tell you shit here, though.
Significant amount.
They don't care.
At around noon.
Yeah, you literally, like in Vegas, there are so many fucking tow trucks here. You can just call the tow truck company. They can just tow your shit immediately. They don't have to, you don't have to call the cops here. You can just get it towed. So, like, straight up, don't even trip on this shit. There's a tow truck dude that lives in our fucking apartment complex. The tow truck is right around the corner. I could literally call this nigga on his cell phone and have them pick somebody up that's in a handicap spot. Like, it's no problem out here.
A smug, angry guy came knocking on my door. I had the day off from school and was home on my own. It was obvious that this was the owner of the car, so I made a quick decision to record the conversation or screaming match on my phone. I opened the door, and before I could say a thing, the douche lays into me. I'm a 16-year-old guy, and he's in his mid-40s, midlife crisis maybe. He accuses me of all things ranging from putting up those signs this morning to frame him to being racist.
What?
He was East Asian, I believe, but we have a really diverse community. He goes on to say that disabled spots shouldn't even be a thing, that it's always empty, totally shooting himself in the foot based on his previous comments, that we should pay for his undeserved ticket, that it wasn't even an inconvenience and the spot next to his was free, and my sister could just get on the bus from there, blah, blah, blah. Once he finished,
I'm flabbergasted because I know how true these situations are from what we've seen on the internet.
I said, okay, and shut the door on his furious
Good
face.
shit.
He rang the doorbell another 5 times before storming off. To my satisfaction, the recording caught everything fairly clearly. In the evening, I told my parents what had happened and gave my dad a copy of the recordings.
I wish my son would.
We have a pretty tight-knit community, for the most part, and there is a neighborhood Facebook group with around 3,000 members. My dad decided to post a summary of what happened, along with the recording and a picture of the car in our spot on the page. There was an immediate uproar with people saying they would fight back or whatever. We were humbled by the feeling that our community was standing up for us, but we didn't think anything would come of it. How wrong you were. The next day, I leave the house and go to school and walk by the guy's car, back in his normal spot, and notice that the front right tire was deflated. Upon closer inspection, it was slashed. As I said, our community is tight-knit, but I can't say I expected anything like this to happen. The guy must have seen the Facebook post because he didn't come back to our house to complain or accuse us of anything.
Okay.
The following weeks were sweet. Whenever I saw him in public, people would go up to him and remind him that he was a horrible human being.
Hey man, by the way, hey, I remember you. You're a piece of shit. Don't ever forget that. See you at the buffet. See you at the post office, douchebag.
A bit harsh in my opinion, but they weren't my words. In November, his house had a for sale sign in the window. The house market had also gone down by a bit. I'm always kind of curious about how much houses similar to ours are selling for compared to how much we paid for ours in 2011, so I knew what he paid for it in July. Once I saw the for sale sign, I rushed home and checked the local house listings, and lo and behold, he was selling for $90,000 less than what it was going for in July.
That's insane.
He really wanted to get out of our neighborhood. While his crime wasn't nearly looks, teeth, and blaming any person.
Hey man, that's pretty fucking good. Get the fuck out. Hey, I don't like bullies, man. I really don't. I don't like bullies. I don't know. These compilations are full of so much emotion for me. I like it. We'll be back. I'll holla. Can't wait to read your guys' comments. Y'all be landing to me when I be upset about bullies getting hurt too. But I'm just saying, man, I feel like when I put myself in their situation, I feel harsh. You know? I feel so harsh. But that shit felt juicy. That shit felt real juicy. I'll holla, man. Peace.